And welcome to Living Above the Rim with the Charlotte Bobcats. I'm the coach, Dick Cox, joined by Dustin Phifer. Dustin, I'm about at the end of words right now. I'm going to be real careful and across my legs so I don't fall out of the chair, because that might be the bright spot of the night if I did, though. But, again, a game, would you call this a must-win tonight for the Bobcats to try to end the streak against the team who I did not realize had a worse record than them? But you know, they come out, Bobcats look good early in the game, have a lead by over 20, up 17 at the half, and just do not come back out of the locker room the second half. I mean, it's hard to explain.
Definitely hard to explain, and when you ask me if it was a must-win, I think anytime you're in a losing streak of this long, now that it's up to 18 games, you pretty much go into every game saying, hey, this is a must-win. This is a streak we got to end. We cannot let this keep going on. I mean, we're still not even halfway through the season, so you got to break these kind of losing streaks and try to find some momentum, even if your record is not where you want it to be. So you get a winnable game at home tonight, like you said, against a team who has one less win than you coming in, struggling just as much as you are. These two teams coming into this game were a combined 1-25 since December 5th. So you're talking about two teams who have been playing some of the worst basketball in the league as far as results go. So this is one that you need to win at home. You got a holiday crowd in here. You got 18,000 for the Hornets coming in town who only got 6 wins. That's a great crowd on a Saturday night against a below-average team. So you want to take advantage in front of your fans. You jump out 54-33. You're running the ball to the floor. You're pushing the tempo. Everything's going right. And all of a sudden you come out in the third quarter and it's a totally different ball game. You only scored 38 points in the second half. You get out hustled to loose balls, you lose shooters on the other end, and all of a sudden here comes the Hornets right back in the ball game, get the lead, then you have a chance to tie it at the end of regulation to send it to overtime, wide open look from Sessions, and you can't knock it down. And you can't really, when you look at these 18 losses in a row, you can't look at one or the other and say, this is bad, but you look at this one and say, this is really bad. If you lose a lead like this to a good team, then maybe you're not as mad. But when you lose at home, you lose a 21-point lead against a team that you're better than as far as your record shows, just unacceptable and unbelievable in my mind.
Well, again, there's two games that I'll look at during this streak that I guess probably upset me, that are devastating. That was the loss to Orlando, who I felt that the Bobcats were better than Orlando. And this team tonight, though, I mean, again, it's not a very good basketball team, but that is one you have got to have at home. And it's just amazing that the Bobcats get the lead and then they fall back into the same bad habits that they've had all season long during this streak in the second half of not picking up shooters, giving up easy baskets. They had a stretch where they were 1 out of 6 from the free throw line with the game on the line. They don't make free throws, and it just, I mean, it baffles me as a coach. I guess if I didn't care about this team and like that, it wouldn't upset me. But it's very upsetting to me to sit and watch the same things happen over and over and over and over again, the same mistakes.
And hey, listen, we see the different side of the team than other people do. We go in the locker rooms after the games, after 18 straight losses. We see the agony on these players' faces. They're going out there and they are laying it on the line. They may not be executing and doing stuff the way to win ball games, but those guys want to end this losing streak just as bad as the fans do. You walk in there tonight and you see Kemba Walker, who's been the Bobcats' best player this season, puts his energy and heart into every game. We see it. He plays hard every minute. He's laying down on 2 chairs with a towel over his face, just totally frustrated with a loss like this. You see other teammates, you know, Jared Henderson I'm thinking about Jared Wallace from last night. Right. Gerald Henderson very frustrated. And, I mean, we feel for these guys. Like you said, if we didn't care about this team, it wouldn't mean as much to us. But when you build relationships like we do with the media and you see these players and you see the frustration that they're going through, we want them to end it. The fans want them to end it. So it's tough. I think the thing that gets to me is, I know it's still a young team, so they're still learning. But if you go back to the very first game of this 18-game losing streak, you're sitting at 7-5, and you have a home game against the Portland Trail Blazers. You're up 18 throughout that game, dominating that game completely. You blow that lead at home again, and that's what starts the 18-game losing streak, opens the door. Now here you are on the 18th game of this losing streak, and the same thing happens. That's things where you have to take a look at players and coaches to say, hey, these things can't happen again. We learned from that earlier in the year. If it happens once, you learn from it. You build on it. But you can't keep letting 18 and 20-point leads slip at home regardless of who you're playing. This is your home court, and when you get out that big of a lead, you need to be able to contain it, and that's not happening right now. So that's why it makes it even more frustrating throughout this losing streak.
Well, you know, the thing that you were saying, and again, we do not have post-game interviews tonight from the players because we didn't feel like it was right. And I'll be honest with you there, being a former player, former coach, there are things on nights like this that you know the players don't want to talk, and you know there's no real question that needs to be asked because it's rehashing things over and over again. So we did get a couple of quotes from the locker room of the Hornets tonight, though. But, you know, the thing that gets me is you asked the question, you said, of what happened in the second half, and Dunlap said ball pressure. Well, by gosh, why don't you call timeout and make adjustments to get the pressure back? Why can't you make adjustments during the game? And don't make the comment after the game, but let's make some adjustments during the game.
Well, if anybody looks at this box score after the game, and I asked Coach Dunlap this after the game because this is one of those losses that really has you scratching your head, especially for people who didn't watch the game. If you take a look at the box score, the Bobcats outshot the Hornets, they out-rebounded the Hornets, out-assisted the Hornets, and fast break points alone. We're talking about fast break points is a big part of the NBA. The Bobcats outscored the Hornets 27-0. Have you ever seen a box score? I haven't seen one in a long time where the other team has 0 fast break points. Somebody usually gets a layup, sneaking out. 27. So you do all those categories where you're better than the other team, and somehow you still lose at home. That has to have the players so frustrated, which is why we were going to wait around and get some players were taking their time because they were frustrated. We were going to wait around and get some interviews, but we thought, hey, let's just go do our post game, give them a night because I'm sure this is one of the most frustrating nights of any night of this 18-game losing streak. So feel bad for them, but I mean that's a tough loss. And I asked Coach Dunlap, what do you tell your team when you have those categories where you're better than the other team in every single category, but you still lose? And, you know, he really didn't have a complete answer. He was just saying it's tough. I mean, you got to find a way to keep these players energized. He said that the locker room is still good. They're still together as a team. So that's very good to hear because it's you know as a coach, when you have these kind of losing streaks, the team can become divided a little bit because of the frustration, but it's good to hear, and you can even hear it in the teammates, it's good to hear that they're still sticking together. So hopefully somehow they're going to find a way to battle out of this losing streak, and I'm hoping that good things will happen once this streak's over.
Bobcats go up at the half, up by 17. We knew a run was going to be made, and our executive producer, Alan Knight, texted me asking me did I think that they would the Bobcats could hang on or would it be a fourth quarter collapse again. And I said, you know, I felt good tonight, though. But I'll be doggone if they don't give up the whole lead in the third quarter. They get outscored 33-16 in the third quarter, and it's dead even. I mean, I could see making a dent in it, but they make up the entire deficit in one quarter, outscoring there, and then it's just like the Bobcats got behind and they panicked, and guys who should not be shooting the ball get the ball inside, putting up bad shots and all like that, and you could see it. We both sat there and pretty much predicted what was going to happen. The bad shots would be taken, and we pretty much predicted how the Hornets would penetrate and kick it out to Anderson, who would nail a wide-open three, and there's not a Bobcat defender anywhere in this area code or covering their best perimeter shooter who had the hot hand in the fourth quarter. Again, same thing over and over and over again. It's frustrating.
And that's what frustrates you. It's late game execution in the NBA. I mean, if you don't watch a lot of NBA games, you need to know what NBA teams try to do regardless of what their record is to play hard throughout. But if they can hang around in the fourth quarter, that's where games are won in the NBA. There's a lot of teams, regardless of what their record is, that can hang around. Everybody's talented in this league, so any night you can go out there and win or lose a game. So you play hard to the fourth quarter. You try to stay in games. And then the fourth quarter is where you show what kind of team you are. So in the fourth quarter of the Miami game, you make a run, you get back, you're down 2. But that team who's been there before, the defending champs, who knows how to win games, have stars to close games out, what happens? They open up a 10-point lead with like 2 minutes left. So you see teams with experience can close out games. That's the difference in the NBA. They're pretty equal for 3 quarters, but it's the guys who can execute late and make the plays late in the fourth quarter, and that's what happened tonight. Like you said, not really great ball movement on offense, not really sure where to go, who to go to get the points from. And then on the defensive end, you don't execute. You let Eric Gordon split a double team, kick it out to a shooter to extend the lead. Those are things you have to execute late to win games in the NBA. If not, you're not going to win them, which is why it's one of the reasons they're on an 18-game losing streak. And which why it has me with a couple of questions. I mean, those are things that you have to teach your team. Execute late in games, and then I also look at the substitution pattern. You're down 6. You need one of your best three-point shooters in the game. Biden Gordon sitting on the end of the bench. He had a pretty solid game before that. Had 14 points. Sessions was having an off night with 3 points, yet Sessions is in late in the game. I can't coach this team. I'm not going to. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying I would want my three-point shooter in there to try to get me back in the game, and that didn't happen. So that's what Bobcats fans are leaving this arena with tonight, with questions of what could have been or what could have happened late in game.
And so you actually just took the words out of my mouth mouth right there, though. Where was Ben Gordon? I mean, not only is he your best guy at getting a three off, though, but he creates that threat that is going to bring people out, which may give some guys some other driving lanes to go to the basket, but you don't put him back in until 11 seconds to go in the game when you got to have a three to tie it right there. I can't figure out a lot what's going on. No, and it's baffling. And, again, I was a coach for 27 years. I don't claim to know it all, but a lot of the things that are going on the court, again, are baffling me right now.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I'm sure we're just saying what the fans are thinking. Because, I mean, these are the questions that fans have, especially when you're in an 18-game losing streak. What could the players do more to get wins? What can the coaching staff do more to get wins? It's a combination of things. You can't put a blame all on one side, whether it's all coaching or all players. I mean, the Bobcats players, regardless of who coaches the team, have to go out there and execute late in games. And they're not doing that. But at the same time, the coaching has to, like you said, make adjustments and make the right moves to have the right lineup on the floor and to call the right plays towards the end of the game. So there's a lot of stuff you can question right now. Like you said, almost you don't even want to talk about it because you don't really know what more words to say during an 18-game losing streak. But we got to talk about it. We got to try to, I mean, as media members, as fans, as players and coaches, got to work through this losing streak and just try to build this team to get better. We knew this team wasn't going to make the playoffs, but all we want to do is see improvement. We saw that at the start of the year, and now we're kind of tapering off. We got to end the losing streak. We got to get these guys back, with a couple of wins, get their mindset. Anything can happen in the NBA. If you put a couple of wins together and build confidence, which is kind of what I thought tonight, if you would have had a blowout win when you were leading by 17 at the half, that gives you confidence to play better even on the road or at home. You lose that confidence now, you're back in the hole on a losing streak. You got to find a way to get out of it. Let's hope they can fight out of it. I still like the heart and the chemistry that this team has. I think Gerald Henderson's a great leader. I think Kemba Walker's a great leader. If we want to talk about a bright spot tonight, we talk about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who went against his old teammate Anthony Davis, had 22 points and 9 rebounds, played one of his better games. So they just got to keep fighting. They played hard to the end. They could have let that game slip away with 6 points down. They fight back, get a chance at the end, miss a shot. I guess the thing we can keep saying is you got to keep fighting, but if you're going to fight, you also got to have some execution at the end.
Well, one of my pet peeves that we're seeing right now is that in late game, and this team really has dropped free throw shooting is just poor.
Which was good at the start of the year.
And, again, I teach free throw shooting clinics. I've done it all my life. I was a 91% free throw shooter for my career, always practiced free throws and believe in those, and it's all in getting focused, being focused on what you're doing. If you get lined up correctly and you're concentrating your focus, you're going to make them. But when you go up there and you're rushing and just shooting them up there, which they're doing right now, then, we had one stretch again where I think with games online, we make 1 out of 6 free throws during that stretch. You have a couple of them where you miss 2 in a row and all. And missed free throws are momentum killers and all. And when your game's on the line, that's like a defensive stand. When you can foul somebody and they can go to the line and you can avoid giving them points when you've got a lead without any time coming off the clock and they miss them, that is a momentum killer, and that is killing this team in close ball games.
Yeah, people may not realize it, but when we sit here and talk about late game execution, free throws is a part of that. Because if you go out there and you knock down the free throws that you're supposed to hit, which, when you go to the line and you're down or even if you're up, that's what helps close out games. Free throws is part of late game execution. When you're tired, when you put it all on the line, but you can still step to the line and put a game away or help get you back in it, that's part of the late game execution that we talk about as far as closing out games. And right now, they're not getting that done. When they went 7-5, I go back to the Bucks game where they were down. They go perfect from the line in the fourth quarter and end up closing that game out here at home. But now they're not doing that. So another thing you have to look at in late game execution, and all that's not coaching or anything. That's with the players. You got to go and practice like you said. You got to keep putting up shots when you're tired after practice. You got to keep practicing free throws over and over, repetition. That's what's main. Focus and repetition, like you talked about, is what's going to get the job done with free throws, and that's something hopefully they work on and they can correct.
This is a better team than last year. This team, again, should not be going through an 18-game losing streak. They're better than that and all. And the thing that I guess that is, I don't know if fans have looked at, I actually have a calendar on my wall in my office and in my gym right there where I put W or L right there, though. If the Bobcats cannot find a way to win on New Year's Eve in Chicago, they go over the whole month of December. They don't win again. That is a whole month. You can put a giant X on that you've wasted a whole month, and that's unbelievable when you go a whole month of a season and don't even win a game.
Well, I mean, the thing that sticks out to me is I saw this the other day on ESPN. Since the start of last season, this is the 3rd losing streak for the Bobcats game of 15 or more. third losing streak since the start of last year of 15 games or more in a row. Nobody's done that in NBA history. So the Bobcats definitely are not where they want to be right now. Like you said, are they a great team? No. But are they a lot better than an 18-game losing streak? Absolutely. I don't really think, if I'm being honest with the camera and the viewers, I don't think any team in the NBA should lose 18 games in a row ever, regardless of how bad you are. No. Last year, the Bobcats lost 23 in a row to end the year. That was a little different with the lockout and so many injuries, and we just didn't have the talent. But most teams out of these NBA teams have enough talent where they're never going to lose 18 games in a row. So that's why I'm pretty much baffled by it. I'm sure you are as well. We've seen this team throughout this 18-game losing streak. Half of those games they were in here, either at home or whatnot, where they could have had a chance to win. So this team is better than an 18-game losing streak. I hope the fans stick with them because it is a young team, and if we can see more performances like this from Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, if we can see our number 2 overall pick outplay the number 1 overall pick and continue to get better, then that's all I want to see from this team is improvement. But no, there's no way they should be on an 18-game losing streak. I don't think any team, I'll say it again, I don't think any team in the NBA should lose 18 games in a row. There's too much talent on any team for that to happen.
This year's Bobcat team would beat last year's team by double figures. They would beat them by double figures, and that's the thing right now. I guess it is frustrating. We're not meaning to sound negative. We are frustrated right now because we support this team, we follow this team, we're close to this team. If we didn't care about this team, then we'd just sit here and we'd sugarcoat it like that. But we care about this team, and we're as frustrated as they are right now. We're not trying to be negative in any way on the team. My philosophy in life when I coach was we're just calling it like we see it and trying to be honest with you. And these are concerns we know the fans have. These are concerns that we have also.
And which is why I want to tell the fans. I mean, we've had a lot of negative stuff tonight, but if you want to, it's hard to take a look at positives in an 18-game losing streak. But if you're trying to see a team build and you're trying to see a team get better, the number one thing you want to look at when you watch games, regardless of winning or losing, is the young talent that you have on this team that you're hoping to build for the future and how they're playing. I'll take a look at 3 players that I want to build this team around for the future that are solidly here. Number 1 is Kemba Walker. Probably having his best season. He had last year was decent, but this is the best year of his career so far, early career. I think he's playing as one of the better point guards in the NBA. The point guard position is very deep, but I think he brings it night in, night out. I think you can agree with me that you can count on him night in, night out. The other one is Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Has he been a little inconsistent? Of course, he's a rookie. But when you see performances like he had earlier in the year with 25 points and 12 rebounds, and you see 22 points and 9 rebounds, and you see the hustle, the passion, the heart he plays with, taking kicks to the head like he did tonight, and then coming back in the game. And then the third guy is Bismack Biyombo. Has he slowly developed? Yes. But here he is back in the starting lineup. He's guaranteed to get you about 10 rebounds a game. You can see improvement in his game night in, night out. So as long as you see improvement from these 3 guys that you know you want to build your core around, and if you continue to bring in veteran guys to help out, if you continue to build this team for the future, those are things to look at. So don't just get totally down about an 18-game losing streak because we weren't predicting the Charlotte Bobcats to go out and beat the Miami Heat to go to the finals this year. So stay patient. I'm not saying 18-game losing streak is what you want to see all the time because I just said it shouldn't happen. But stay patient, look at your young guys, and don't just totally write this team off. Support them, be there for them. We said it, we support them. We might talk bad, but support them, be there for them, build this young team. It's a building process, and let's hope we can continue to build.
Hey, and I'm not giving up on this team. It cost me $35 a trip to drive from Spartanburg every time I come cover this team, and I will continue to be in here the rest of the season unless I'm sick or something like that, though. I will continue to follow this team. And like I said, it's expensive driving from Spartanburg to see them night in, night out and stuff like that, though. But that is the thing that, we're still going to bring you the coverage. We're going to try to be honest with you. We're not going to sugarcoat it, and we're going to tell you what's going on. And, again, the positive thing about this is, too, that during the losing streak, the games have been fun. The Lady Cats are still as good as ever. The competitions you have at halftime entertainment, all the other parts of it. So until the Bobcats start winning again, come on out and continue to enjoy the game. You heard Tron's endorsement last game about how the games are fun to come to them and all like that, though. The next home game, I believe, is next Friday night. That's the circus behind me.
Friday night.
I was checking on that, though, and Kyrie Irving, former Duke player, an overall number 1 pick, will be in town, though. But the Bobcats will play at Chicago. A winnable game, but have got to win. And, again, it makes a difference when you had the crowd support tonight. And again, these guys are down. Don't kick them when they're down. Let's give them some energy. Let's build them up. Let's give them some enthusiasm and all, and give them a chance to snap this string, though, and all, and see what they can do, though. But, again, frustrating night. Can't do anything about this one. It's time to Fido. Forget it and drive on. The Bobcats will roll into Chicago on New Year's Eve. Our next game, again, will be next Friday night. Now, Coach Tony and I will be with you bringing you the Chick-fil-A Bowl on New Year's Eve, so look for our report on that. We'll have several other things coming up next week also, though. But we appreciate our sponsors that make these shows possible. Fats on Highway 9 in Bowling Springs, the Beacon Drive-In, by Larry's Trophies, by the West Side Club, by Concoction Ministries, and by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. These are the people who help make these broadcasts possible. Again, our thanks to the people here with the Bobcats, B.J. Evans and Josh Rosen. Again, the people that make this happen for us and allow us to do the things we do.
Yeah, I just want to say Happy New Year's to all of our viewers. Hope you have a great start to the year. Hopefully the Bobcats can kick it off with a win on New Year's Eve. And thanks for all of our sponsors and our viewers that watch us, and hope you have a great New Year.
And again, I want to encourage you to have a happy New Year and safe New Year. Please make good decisions and don't do anything that will put you or somebody else in danger on New Year's Eve. Until then, I'm the Coach Dick Cox. He's Dustin Phifer. Happy New Year's, everybody.